in the PETRO and I didn't order my oil, so I got to get it changed again. Just the oil, I did everything else. Well, and the fuel filters. The PETRO. They typically have something interesting in here. How you doing, sir? Taters added. Let's see what we got. Oh, this is a... Wow. Changed it up since the last time I was in here.
Yeah, we have.
Let's see what we can find. Well, that was different. I expected them to make something fresh. I mean, they're making sandwiches, but they used to make like greasy stuff before. Look at Limelight. I got some of those eyes. I gave them to AJ and got them in his room. Cool. Looks good. Where's the big freight shaker? Oh, they got it in W9. Over on that side. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. The McDonald's inside of Joplin. There's no humans. They're all gone. Apparently there's one that runs around here, but I ain't seen it yet. I wonder if there are robots in the back making my hamburger. Okay, I got...
$2.71?
Well, that was like instant. It was like waiting on me, wasn't it? Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you.
No problem.
Anyway, so I got a Big Mac, fries, and a mocha something. And I dropped. Yeah, that's what I got. I like the center on this so you can lay out your cabinets. Boom, boom, boom. But if you put one there, you wouldn't be able to get anything underneath. So that don't make any sense. But here, and here, and here. That's nice. Put your straps on there, I guess. And then this is way too high. You'd never get any tools up in that. They locked that one over there. Hard to code. Well, done with lunch. Port. We are at the port of entry, Cheyenne, Wyoming, on 25, coming up from Colorado. Not Colorado, but Colorado, from the mass exodus of California. 15 degrees this morning. Snowed last night. The bad part was it was really foggy. You could see maybe a car length in front of you, and the fog was freezing at 15 degrees onto the windshield and everything else. So it was kind of like driving in ice. Well, it is driving in ice, see? 15 degrees. I'm going to turn into an ice cube. I'll hurry up. And I have spikes for walking on this, but I'm just shuffling around right now. A tad bit. Not too bad. There's my garbage. It's not on the side of the road. Well, they're gonna have a frozen turd. Winter front. That's the bad thing about these LEDs. They don't have enough heat to keep the ice off. That's that frozen fog. Alright, let's get out of this place. Cheyenne, port of entry, I-25. Northbound. $15 I gotta take this towel and plug up that air hole. I started recording and Ruthie called, so. And then this phone will cancel the recording when somebody calls. So, anywho. What do you think would happen if I smashed on it right? Smash on it. Woo! Burn them out. I did a burn them out. And they showed them to me and everything. So I said, if you want, I'll go over there and get the parts. He said, well, okay. And then so he got the axle doctor and I went and got the parts. No harm, no foul, right? When I get back, I just turn in my receipt and they'll put it, they'll reimburse me for it. Simple as that. No problems, no harm, no foul, right? Okay, well, the axle doctor screwed up because they made promises that they had the axle and then when they got there, they didn't have it. So then they wanted to be paid for showing up. So anyway, that didn't work out. So what we ended up doing was getting the truck that was going to come down in the first place had already passed. So we had turned them around and had them come back to where I was at and ordered the crane. So I called up Finance. I said, hey, Finance, you want me to keep those parts and that way you can just fix all this stuff when I get to the yard? He said, yeah. So anyway, so I was planning on getting reimbursed for this stuff. But he called me and told me that all that stuff was for a 12-ton axle and that we had a 10-ton axle and that they knew that because we were all on the phone together at the same time talking about what was on the trailer. So I said, all right, well, just box all this stuff up and my next time through, I'll take it back, get my money back. Okay, so, well, it turned out that I went to Gilbert, Arizona, and then when I got back from Gilbert, Arizona, there was a hot load going up to Boston, Massachusetts. So I went to Boston, Massachusetts, and came back and picked up the parts. Struggling. Oh Y'all hear that? You hear the truck struggling? It's like pushing the air back out. There, you hear it? Let me grab another gear. Tell me what that is. YouTube is awesome. Why is it kicking the air back out like that? Anyway, where was I? So anyway, so I picked up the parts, and then it was Thanksgiving, and then so finally I get a load going back to Draper. So I'd already been carrying the parts around for a few weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, something like that. Well, since the day that I got them, and I went in there, and it was just a real cold environment. Like they were not pleased to see me, and I didn't know what was taking place, but I didn't think that I'd done anything wrong. Maybe they were just having a bad day or whatever. But what it was is it turned out that they were actually stealing from me. They only gave me half my money back for the bearings and stuff, and then tried to act like that hub wasn't even theirs. They said, "Oh, this hub's a used hub. We don't have used hubs." Well, I went back to the videos from the day that I bought that stuff, and it plainly shows the same hub. And I remember that they took the rotor off of it. I said, "Why are you taking the rotor off of it? Is that a used one?" No, they said, I mean, just like that. "No, it's not used." I said, "Well, it even has a bearing and a seal in it." "No, we don't sell used stuff." So, but they tried to sit there and say that wasn't there, blah, blah, blah. So they were planning on stealing from me from day one. And which is just really sad that people will scam you and try to rip you off like that. There's just no reason for it, you know. Oh, what's wrong with this guy here? He don't know how to drive. Back and forth. But anyway, the bad thing is that people so going back over the whole thing and reviewing it all in my head and everything. These people were originally setting out to rip me off because they charged me for a new hub, and it was a used hub in the first place. And then when I brought it back, they claimed that it wasn't their hub, that they only sell new hubs, and that wasn't their hub because it was a used hub. And, you know, so time had elapsed, and I was like, I was caught off guard with the whole thing, you know. But, you know, I was like, you know, screw all that. You know, you guys are in the wrong, and just keep the freaking hub. Hey, but on my way out, I was realizing, wait a minute, I got videos of all this. So I rolled the video, and there her hub is. And so I freezed it, blew it up, took it in there. I said, "There's your hub." Oh, the guy wouldn't even look at it. I can't tell. That's any old hub. He wouldn't even, I mean, it was yelling at me too. And that was the sad part, how they treated me like I was some guy that went out and stole a bunch of stuff and brought it in there and was trying to give them to pay me for stolen stuff. That's the way I was being treated. And they were yelling at me and so on and so on. So I only walked out of there with half the money that I spent on that stuff. I spent $979, and it was $504 short of what I paid for it. And Now, there was a tube of grease and a hubcap with a gasket. So you're talking maybe $10 worth of parts that didn't come back with it. But everything else was there. So wow, really working hard coming up this hill with that wind going. Working hard. See, YouTube is awesome. It's kicking my airbag. It's kicking the turbo airbag. It's not taking it. They have a high wind advisory, and it's out. It's blowing pretty good. In fact, that motor home should be coming up here. Darn. The wind is fighting me. Imagine it's going to be roughing that motor home. Fortunately, it's blowing right at us instead of, well, it is kind of a crossroads a little bit. Oh, wait. Wind is blowing. It's a good little climb. I think it's like 5 up to 9,000 feet. It's a real good climb. And then you had this big wind in there. That's even much more fun. Plus, I have 2 huge boats on here. I've been averaging 4.6 miles a gallon the whole trip, so it's been some work. It's some work in this load out here. Oh, and to the comments, I started this video, this clip. A lot of you, not a lot of you, some of you had made comments to what am I doing paying for parts? Well, I hope I explained that. Tim was at the airport on his way on a trip. Finance was recovering from an injury, and he was real busy, and I have a perfectly good credit card, and I'd like to get on my way, just pay for the parts. Well, no harm, no foul. Tim's not gonna rip me off. They're not gonna rip me off. All I gotta do is give them my receipt, and they'll give me back my money. It's as simple as that. There's no worry, no harm, no foul. So I don't know what y'all are tripping on. Some of you have made comments. One of you made a comment about how he spends all this money and he can't even pay for his own trailer. I don't know what that's all about. When somebody can move forward in life and reap the blessings and benefits of the hard work, why would you look down on that? I mean, come on. Tim's never done me wrong. I don't know where these comments come from. I mean, where's your heart at when you ask questions like that? Anyway, so No, it had nothing to do with nobody not being able to pay for their parts. It had more with me just trying to save time and just get it done and over with, you know. I had no idea that these people were out to get me from the get-go as soon as I walked in the door. Unfortunately, I hear when you're driving truck across country, people are just waiting and praying for the day that they can get somebody to walk in the door so they can rip them off. I've been ripped off so many times out here running across these roads, you know. One time I was charged $5,000 from KW in Salina, Kansas to change 2 freaking U-boats. $5,000 to change 2 U-boats at the KW dealership in Salina, Kansas. These people are just waiting on you, you know? It starts kicking that air back out of the turbo air. It starts kicking that air back when you get under 1,500 RPMs on a pull. Ladies and gentlemen, I used to come through here a couple of decades ago, and the snow was so deep that my bumper was a snowplow. That's no joke. Nowadays they close down the road. They don't even mess around anymore. That wind is joking around today. That must be the word of the day, joking. I'm still heavy in the climb yet. I haven't let up yet. In fact, just trying to pull down again. 1,500 RPM. Twelfth gear. Crosswinds 55 plus. Ooh, doggy. There's another climb just on this side of this downhill slope. Give my foot a break. 500 feet right now. We got to go up to 9,000 feet. feet. Trying to listen, ladies and gentlemen. You're driving on this icy spots. If you hear your RPMs go up, you gotta jump out of it real quick. Because if you don't, with that tire spinning, them two jewels spinning, it'll cause you to get into a V shape, jackknife shape. You don't want to do that. Get out of it immediately. See those shiny spots there? When you got all that power down and you're going up a mountain, you got to listen for them RPMs to jump up. It'll kick the back of the truck out sideways real fast. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're up to 8,000 feet. The last 1,000 feet isn't that bad, so sorry this drug out so long. I don't know what's going on. How come the motor keeps kicking back the turbo air like that? Something's going on with the truck. I don't know what it is. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, my phone overheated, so I better get off of here. There's my view. God bless, and good. Later.